Alright guys, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to go over 1.3.4 steps 14 through, I believe it's 18. So we're going to create a screwdriver case base. Okay, that's what we're going to be designing. So I'm going to go ahead and start with step 15, create a new component. So we'll just start with the new sketch. Again, make sure you are in inches. Let's start a new sketch, a new standard sketch. Create. We'll start with a new sketch on the top plane. Alright, so on step 16 says build 2 tapered extrusions to start the case base to approximate the case's form. Okay, create a pentagon sketch. Then extrude the pentagon with a taper angle of -45 degrees to create the short inward flare at the bottom of the base. So we'll start by sketching a pentagon. Again, a pentagon has 5 sides, so we'll put 5 here. We'll start a sketch in the center. And then that's fine. Right? And then we'll go ahead and give it a dimension. We'll say from the center to this line here should be 2.0 inches, right? So now we're going to go ahead and zoom out. And then we'll give it a horizontal sketch so that it stays in place, right? There we go. So now it does have the, if we say show all constraints, it shows the horizontal constraint. Okay, let's go ahead and hide all constraints. So let's go ahead and finish the sketch. And we're going to go ahead and extrude it. Okay, so it wants us to extrude. Okay, so this is actually 1 inch. I think it looks a little bit taller. So let's go ahead and give it 1.5. 0.5. Okay. And then we're going to give it a tapered angle, right? So this is this part here. So you're going to have to click Advanced Properties. And this is a tapered angle. So you're going to have to do is type in 45. And then zoom out a little bit. And again, it's the opposite ways, right? So we're going to click on this button, flip direction. So that it looks like it's a little bit too much, right? So we might have to say maybe 0.45. So let's see, 10. Let's go ahead and flip that. There we go. -45. Now again, let's go ahead and do it again. -45.00. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and put this down here. So this should actually be 0.5. There we go. 0.5. And then we're going to press OK. So again, this part here should be 0.5 and then -45. All right, so now this is where we get to the second part. This second part, again, I got confused. This second part is we're going to create another extrusion, and then we'll probably give it 1.5 inches when we extrude it. So we're going to go ahead and create another sketch here. I'm going to right click and say New Sketch. And then I'm going to project geometry. And then I'm going to click the size of the pentagon. There we go. Now after I'm done with this, I'm going to finish the sketch. And then now I can go ahead and extrude this part. So now this one is 1.5. There we go. So we also have to give it a taper, right? So this is step 16. Step B, create another inward tapered extrusion. So for this one, we can actually put a smaller taper, so maybe about 10. And then we have to flip the direction. So that looks just about right. It looks a little bit too much. Let's go ahead and put 5. There we go. And I'm going to press OK. Again, make sure the taper flares inward towards the top of the part. Yes, they do. So now we go on to step 17. Create a loft transition, okay, from the top pentagonal shape of the existing case model geometry to the circular shape. So let's go ahead and start with the letters, which is tells us what steps we need to do. Construct a new plane that is offset from the top surface of your model. So for this one, we're going to go here to the plane, and we're going to say offset from plane. Right, so we're going to click this part here. And then this is just asking us how high do we want the plane. We can just say 0.5 is okay, and then we can press the check mark. So now here, we can actually right click and say new sketch. There we go. So now we are in step B, 17B. Project the pentagonal's top surface of the existing model to the new sketch plane and identify the center point of the pentagon. The center of the pentagon is the intersection of the construction lines from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. All right, so we have to project this geometry. So we'll click project geometry. Again, we'll choose these lines. All right, so now we have to create construction lines. So I'm going to choose the line command and then turn on the construction line command. There we go. So now if it's off, just turn it on, and then it turns the yellow lines into blue construction lines. There we go. So now we have to add some lines as well. Some intersecting lines. So let's go ahead and do that. From the corner here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Find the center point. Make sure it turns green to find the center. And again, make sure you do this on every corner. So make sure every corner is covered. All right, and we'll do this corner as well. Now I can press escape. So now we go on to step C. Draw a circle on the new sketch center at the center point of the pentagon. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Center point circle. Make sure it turns green, and then we're going to give it 2.0 inches. Right. So now again, if you forgot to turn off the construction line, you can just select your circle and then click the construction line, and now it turns off that feature, right? So remember, all of this is done on the construction plane, right? It should not be done on this base. It should be done on the construction plane. So again, double check that you're doing it on the construction plane. So now we go on to step D. Create the loft feature between the pentagonal top surface and the circle on the new plane. So let's go ahead and finish the sketch. And then we're going to use the loft command. And then we're going to select this part here. Make sure you click the line. There we go. This is the one we're going to pick. And then we're going to select here, click to add. And then we're going to pick the circle here. There we go. And then I'm going to press OK. And now we have our loft here. So now we're moving on to step 18. Finish the form of the base using a tapered extrusion and a round. Letter A, add another tapered extrusion to model the cylindrical portion of the base part. What tapered angle did we use? Again, make sure you give it a tapered angle. And then add a small round to the top edge of the cylindrical extrusion. This is for 18B using the fillet command. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hide this work plane. We don't need it no more. On the top, we're going to say new sketch. And then we're going to go again, use project geometry. And I'm going to select the parts of the circle, the lines of the circle. Now I'm going to select finish sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude this part. There we go. So again, it looks like it's less than 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and delete and put 1.0. That looks better. And then for the tapered extrusion, again, I'm going to put 5. I'm going to flip it. There we go. I'm going to press OK. So now it looks more like on step 18. Right, so the last step would be to add a fillet. We're going to add a fillet here. Again, how much do we want to add? That looks like too much. We can do 0.05. And then we can press OK. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and click File, Save As. And I can say 1.3.4 steps. I believe it was 14 through 18. Let me just double check. Yes. 14 through 18. Now I can save it. There we go. So now it's saved. Down here. Now I can go to Sketch and then add text. And I can draw a box here. Okay. Just see it. Add your name. There we go. So now we can go ahead and again take a full window screenshot and turn it in for your assignment. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.